Okay, so you've cleaned and deprimed and annealed and resized your brass. Now you need to trim it. Here's what you need. In this case, I use an RCBS trimmer. You can use any kind you like, but they all set similar. You're going to need some calipers, and in this case, most trimmers often work with a drill, which I'll show you how that works in a second. So in this case, the RCBS case trimmer has a 1/2 inch shaft diameter, which will work with a lot of modern power drills, and they come with hand cranks, which I have used, but you'll find that the slower rotation speed of the cutter just makes for much more inconsistent cuts, and so it can be pretty frustrating. So in this case, in the RCBS, you have this guide, kind of a collet, and it's caliber specific. So I'm trimming some 308 brass here, so I have my 30 caliber guide and already installed with and then it's held in place by a little set screw right there. And you're going to also find that your trimmers have two collars. There's an outer macro adjustment collar and an inner micro adjustment collar. Now I have this set already to the length of my 308 brass, which is in general the preferred or the recommended brass trimming size is 2.005 inches, so 2 inches and 5 thousandths. And but here's what I'm going to show you how to set it. So what you're going to do is grab one of your casings and put it in the universal holder, and I'll show. That's always, you just pull the lever back, it clamps inside, and I'm holding the phone right now, in this case the camera, so I'm going to get that in and come back. Okay, so the casing is now inside of the universal case holder just by pressing down the lever here and then dropping the casing in there. And so while you're setting your case trimming length, you just want to run the trimmer up into contact with the front of the casing mouth here. Then you're going to take your macro collar and you're going to spin out the micro adjustment collar about 5 turns. And you're going to loosen this little set screw right here and then turn it out, because you're going to start flush up against the macro adjustment collar, and you're going to turn this out about 5 whole turns and then gently tighten it down. Once you have that done, you're going to undo the set screw in the macro collar, and you're going to run the collar up into contact with the front of the body here. So it'll slide around and you're going to slide it up. Your cutter will already be in contact here, and then you're going to slide the collar up into contact with this body here. And what you want to take notice of is this index line right there on the main body, and then these small tick marks here. And each one of these tick marks represents an approximate 1/1000th of an inch of trimming depth. So once you get this rough estimation set with turned out 5 rotations and locked into place, you're going to start a trim on your case, and it's going to look like this. And then you pop the case out and give it a measure. So when you're measuring your case, you can do so without these bases and things like that on your calipers, but I find that it just makes it easier to get a big firm contact, and they also work in conjunction with the case shoulder length. So you want to bring it down to the base and zero it out there at the base, and then once you bring it up there, put the casing in, bring it back down, and measure. Now this casing measures out at 2.005, which is exactly where I want it. But if it's not there, I'll show you what to do. So usually before you set your collar, your brass is going to be a little bigger than what you want it to be. So the more you turn this collar clockwise, if you're, I suppose, looking at it from this side, but basically turn it into the macro collar, it's going to shrink this distance and therefore also shrink this distance, because it's going to cause the cutting shaft to have more room to move in that direction. So the reason you run the cutter up to the casing, obviously, is you're just setting it at a base length of your pre-cut casing. And then once you figure out how many thousandths you need to trim off, you find a reference mark on your collar and you turn it that many clicks towards the macro collar and then tighten it back down. And once you get that estimated amount of rotations, then you try another cut. And then you measure again. Basically as simple as going back and forth on that adjustment until you get within that cutting. So this is a little long. I still need to do another cut. And what you're going to find is you don't want to go for everything in the first and run usually on a cut once you start to get close. This actually is set to my 2 inch and 5/1000 setting, but the reason the high-speed drill works better is because it keeps you from having to apply too much pressure. I find that there's about 1,000th to 2,000ths variance on the pressure, no matter how close I try to get it set. If I push too hard on the shaft, I can get about a 1,000th of a flex. So where it's usually going to cut to about 2.005, or once I'll get a 2.004.5, or 1/2 thousandth under the size I'm looking for. So just try a little bit of pressure, get your cut, adjust it as needed, and then you'll work your way in. And we've already cut this one. It was still about 5-6 thousandths long. Try one more time. And there it is, 2005, exactly where we want it. And so that's the whole process. Just once you get your initial setup, run up to the case mouth. Again, you just you loosen this collar, slide it in after backing this one out 5 times, tighten it down, tighten this down, and then make your initial cut. See how much you have to take off, turn this the amount of thousandths by each click, the little lines, and zero in, work your way in to the length of the casing, and then you're underway. Like I said, it helps to have a drill. They make more expensive cutters with built-in motor units. Those are fine. This was about $150–200. I don't honestly remember, and I can post links if you want them for where I got it and where to find it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, all the things. This is Jarhead Drew showing you how to do reloading.